Well, guys, you may have missed this last week, but His Excellency, Mark Gordon, has picked Attorney General Bridget Hill to serve on the Wyoming State Supreme Court. If you've never been there for session, guys, when they have the governor's annual address, you might not know this, but they literally refer to him and introduce him as His Excellency in Cheyenne. There's a collective upchuck sound that comes across the Capitol, but that's why I referred to him as His Excellency. And I just got to laugh because Bridget Hill may be one of the most unqualified people to serve on the Supreme Court that we have had in a very long time in the state of Wyoming. So she's replacing outgoing Justice Kate Fox. Fox has to retire. She's approaching 70 years of age. In our Constitution, 70 is the cutoff for serving on the state Supreme Court. I actually love that idea. I wish that every federal office holder, and for that matter, state office holders, had a cutoff at 70 years of age. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of our country being ruled by 90-year-old geriatrics who are being pushed around in a wheelchair who don't even know what day it is. Whether it's Dianne Feinstein, Mitch McConnell, or frankly, Joe Biden. It's disgusting stuff. So I love that factor of the state constitution, the His Excellency. That's a different topic. But we had to laugh when we first heard about this, because judges are supposed to, know the Constitution, right? Their job is to weigh matters of law and see if what happened was constitutional. So I couldn't help but laugh because for those who have forgotten this story or may have never heard it, it was Bridget Hill and Secretary of State Ed Buchanan, who came after Wyoming Gun Owners a couple of years ago, demanding that we give them the names of our donors because of what they said was a violation of the state's campaign finance law. So they literally call us and say, you did not file this report. And I said, that's because the report is vague. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it wants. And they said, well, if you're not sure what donor names to report, just give us all of your donors. And of course, we told them to go to hell, and they then gave us a civil penalty, a civil fine, and then we then sued them in federal court. And that case took years, 3 years, 3.5 years. We won in district court. We won then later on in circuit court. But the entire time, Bridget Hill, Attorney General Bridget Hill, had the authority to drop the entire matter because the case was referred from the Secretary of State to the Attorney General, and she had all the authority she needed to have to say, you know what, there is a thing in this country called the First Amendment. And there's also a thing in this country called the United States Supreme Court, and they have given a lot of decisions on the limits of the government trying to compel non-for-profits to surrender the names of their donors. There's a lot of legal reasons why Bridget Hill could have and should have shut that attack down. But Bridget Hill is a very partisan hack activist style attorney general. And her goal was to punish, and ultimately her goal was to silence Wyoming gun owners with that bogus lawsuit. Now, thankfully, of course, as you guys know, she failed. We won, and we won big. And the state had to pay over $100,000 in legal fees to our legal team, and that whole thing has been put to bed. But that's not the only time, and that's not the only amendment to the Constitution that Bridget Hill clearly does not understand. Last session was very busy for us here at WIGO. It was a very busy time pushing SAPA, pushing gun-free zone repeal. There was a limit in how many videos we could do and emails we could crank out. But if you guys remember, early in session, we warned everybody about Senate File 12. Senate File 12 was a bill that began in the interim committee process last year. It was approved unanimously in the interim judiciary committee, and it got to the Senate this year in the form of Senate File 12. This bill would create a new permanent/lifetime protective order in Wyoming. And what that would mean is that the current orders that we have that expire after, I believe the one is 1 year and one is 3 years, we create a new one, which would be a lifetime protective order. And as part of that protective order, it also included a lifetime gun ban. Lifetime gun ban. Now, there's different ways that a Wyomingite could be hit with this protective order. One is incident to a conviction for a violent felony crime. And as we said, we're fine with that. If someone commits murder, robbery, that person should probably be unalived, let alone be having firearms. That's one thing. But it also allowed for a civil procedure at which a judge could consider evidence that was similar to the evidence that would be provided in criminal court. And in this civil hearing, where you do not have the same due process rights, they could originate this new lifetime gun ban without ever having to convict you of a crime in a court of law. So naturally, we warned you guys, and you guys made phone calls, you guys sent in emails, you guys texted your lawmakers. And so when I showed up to testify in the Senate Judiciary Committee against this bill last session, they'd already heard from you guys. And one of the questions that I had was, who's going to present this bill today in front of this committee? Because it was an interim committee topic. It wasn't sponsored this year by a legislator. It was an interim committee topic that was then turned into a bill. You want to know who showed up? It was Attorney General Bridget Hill's office, who came to committee and presented this bill and argued with me back and forth for a long time, trying to tell the Judiciary Committee that it was totally constitutional to take away a Wyomingites' guns for the rest of their life, having never convicted them in a court of law first. I wish I could say I was shocked. I was mostly just ridiculously outraged that an attorney general who was supposed to know the Second Amendment, for amongst other things, would literally have her staff in committee trying to take away our gun rights for the rest of our life with no criminal conviction. Now, of course, we killed the bill. Like I said, your calls, your emails, our lobby presence, the bill died, did not get referred out of committee. And we're very happy about that. But it's very obvious that Bridget Hill does not understand the Second Amendment any more than she understands the First Amendment. And I think for me, the main takeaway here is that is why gun owners must stay active and involved in this fight here in Cheyenne. Our governor is a backstabbing, lying rhino. He vetoes gun bills. He vetoed SEPA. He vetoed gun-free zone repeal. He has open contempt for gun owners here in Wyoming. Our courts clearly are being stalked with rhinos as well, like Bridget Hill, who don't understand the First Amendment or the Second Amendment. And so our real power as gun owners lies where it's always lie, and that is in the legislature. That's where we can have real impact. That's where you and I can pass bills, where we can kill bills. That's where we have power, and especially in the Republican Party primaries. That's where gun owners make a lot of noise and send a big message every 2 years in this state. But guys, WIGO can't do it on our own. We have to have help from all of our donors, our members, our supporters. The fights are not going away. And with what Colorado did last week, the worst gun control bill perhaps in America, I guarantee you, there is an energy. There is a momentum amongst Democrats. They want to attack our gun rights. Some of the rhinos want to attack our gun rights. We need WIGO to be big, nasty, and strong as we approach 2026. If you're not already involved, guys, get involved today at joinwygo.com. It's joinwygo.com or our regular website, wyominggunowners.org. Get involved in this fight today. We have crazy rhinos everywhere, and now we have Bridget Hill going on to the state Supreme Court. So we got to win these fights in Cheyenne, in the legislature. That's what we do. That's our job. Get involved in that fight today, guys, against joinwygo.com. We'll keep you guys informed. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.